you, my friend.
Our next guest is a best-selling author and smash hit podcaster who'll teach us that behaviour change is well within range. Her new book, The Let Them Theory, is out now, so please welcome a human being who is the opposite of Bobbins. It's Mel Robbins!
Let's hear it from Mel!
What a great open!
I mean, come on!
Wow.
Hello!
Wow, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you. You have new glasses since I saw you. I love them.
I think you do too.
Yes, I might have to copy you.
I thought you stole my old pair because my old pair looked exactly like that. Mel, congratulations on everything. Thank you for everything.
Oh.
People love you. Know people love you anyhow, but you can never have too much love. Why would you not want too much love? A life-changing tool that millions of people can't stop talking about. The Let Them Theory. So many questions.
Ask away.
Yeah, well, I know I only have to ask a couple, and then I can go and take the next half an hour off because you're so good at this stuff. The more you let other people live their lives, the better your life gets. And it's so true. And I know this anyway, but I put your theory to the test. So all weekend, I let them. And I can't tell you, I had so much of a better weekend.
So how did you use it?
I used it all the time, every time, especially with the kids, with my wife. She's got this thing with the bathroom at the moment. Let them, let her, let you, and then it also ultimately let yourself, of course.
Yes.
How do you get this? I know the answer to the question. I know the answer to all the questions I'm going to ask, but I'm going to ask them anyway. All right? It's so simple, the Let Them Theory. That's why it works so well. How do you get a whole book out of it?
Well, let me tell you something. I have been trying to be less controlling my entire life, Chris. And if you're not controlling and annoying like I am, then you're probably dating or married to somebody who is. I'm married to a Buddhist. My husband is so Zen. It's really irritating. But I have been gripping the steering wheel of life my entire life too tightly, trying to change everybody, annoyed about traffic. There's an easier way to live. And, I'm almost embarrassed to tell you that the power of these two words, let them, hit me in a really embarrassing moment. It was my son's high school prom. And everybody knows how annoying mothers are at the high school prom. We control the tux and the dress and the boutonniere and the corsage. And we were taking a family photo. And I'm like, stand up straight and don't do that stupid face. And let's get a good family photo. And my daughter had it. Chris, she leans over. She grabs me by the bicep. And I think it was because she had long nails. She dug her nails into my bicep. And she's like, you're being so annoying. Just let them do whatever they want. Let them dance in the rain. Let them ruin his shoes. Let them ruin the photo. It's their prom, not yours. I don't know what it was about that moment, but when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Yeah. And it was the nails. It was the cascade of let them. And it hit me. Why do I care about this? Yeah. And from that moment on, Chris, anytime I was worried, stressed out, frustrated, annoyed, afraid, whatever, I would just say, let them. And here's what you're going to notice, because that's all you need to know to use this. You don't have to buy the book. You literally don't. Just the second you're stressed.
You don't have to buy the book because everyone else in the world has. Anyway,
literally.
and
people are already using it on you because you're annoying too.
Yeah.
You do not realize how often you give power to other people. Their opinions, their behavior, their judgments, their disappointments. Just let them. There's an easier way to go through life.
So now I have so many questions because now you're here. It's different. You've given me my different mind now, because what's interesting about those of us who don't let them and should let them is that we are usually controlling, hopefully for all the right reasons. We want things to be better.
Right.
Therefore, we're on the front foot. So all these people, all of us who can benefit from this book, the Let Them Theory, we have loads and loads of energy that we don't know what to do with. So if we let them, we then have all this energy to do good stuff in the world.
Correct.
And for ourselves. And to relax, to simplify, and to slow down takes loads of energy.
Yes.
So, hey, why don't we do that?
Well,
and then all the people we've been trying to attract over the years suddenly will start knocking our door down, which is exactly what's happened to you.
Well, so the thing that I never understood until I was 54 years old and my daughter yelled these two words, let them, at me at the prom, was that I didn't realize how much time and energy I was actually giving to stupid things.
Everything.
Like they're always doing construction in London. Why does it take an hour to get anywhere here? But you can't control that. Let them. Why allow that stress? If you're in the market and the queue is super long and there's only one cashier open, and they're like beep, beep, beep. And then you start burning up and just let them or leave the store. And you don't realize how often you allow someone else's opinion or somebody else's behavior or somebody else's expectations to determine how you're living your life. And I didn't realize this until I learned how to stop giving power to those things. When you let people think what they're going to think, you realize how often you have navigated your life based on trying to manage what other people think. Yeah. There's an easier way. Just let them. And then there's a second part to the theory, which is once you let other people be who they are and be who they're not. Like, here's a couple other ways you need to use this. If you're dating somebody and they don't want to put a label on it, I got news for you. They don't like you. They like sleeping with you. So let them. Let them not put a label on it. Let them treat you with disrespect. And here's why. When you say let them, you're not allowing disrespect, you're recognizing it. And when people treat you with disrespect, or people do not recognize you at work, or people do not treat you in a way that you deserve, they've probably been doing it for a long time. You've just been gaslighting yourself and explaining it away and living in a fantasy in your mind. So when you say let them, you force yourself to recognize that people's behavior is the truth about how they feel about you. And now I got to take my power back and let me ask myself, is this attractive? Is this what I deserve? Because in life, Chris, there's only 3 things we can control. Only 3. This is Stoicism. This is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. This is the truth about humans since the beginning of time. We can only control what we think. We can only control what we do or don't do. And we can only control how we respond to the stress and emotions and frustrations that rise up and down in life. Yeah. That's it. That's all you got.
It's delusional. I mean, your husband will know about delusion because there's the 3 great delusions of Buddhism. There's greed, there's hatred, and there's delusion.
Yes.
And the ultimate example is shouting at the weather. And it's, there's just no point. Obviously, we all know there's no point in shouting at the weather. People still do shout at the weather. People talk to their dogs in full sentences. There's no point in that either. It might make you feel better in the moment, but long term it doesn't. Chapter 5, let them think bad thoughts about you, which is, I've written it down here, my wife said, that's the same as what you say.
Yes.
It's none of my business what other people think about me.
That's true. And here's the thing about the let them theory. The reason why this is spread around the world is because this is a tool. So for years, I would say to myself, oh, I don't care what people think, blah, 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 blah. But I didn't know how to let it go.
Yeah.
I didn't know how, because I personally feel like letting it go means, all right, I'm surrendering and I've lost.
Yeah.
And I don't like to lose, right? And so let them's better, because what happens when you say let them is you recognize I can't control what somebody else thinks. It's physically impossible for you to climb up in somebody's head and actually guarantee they're going to think a good or bad thought.
Yeah.
So let them think whatever they're going to think. And then let me put more weight on how I show up and what I think about so that I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
Like, let them is a way for you to truly apply Stoicism, detachment theory. How you apply what people think is none of my business. Let them allows you to make it none of your business.
I love it. It's like when you're tightening a wheel. So you have a new wheel on the car, you have a puncture, you put the wheel back on and you start to tighten the hub. And then you turn it and turn it and turn it and turn it. None of those turns matter until the last turn.
Yes.
And let go is all the turns before, and
yes.
let them is the last turn.
Yes. And one other thing that I love about this, that, everybody loves this so much because, when you start saying let them, and this is where you have to be careful.
It's quite addictive.
It's very addictive because let's be honest. When you go, okay, let my mates go away without me. Oh, let my siblings never call me back. Let my boss be a jerk. When you go, let them, you start feeling better than everyone else. Yeah. But you got to be careful. Mm-hmm. Because the more you say it, the more you see how people treat you.
Yeah.
And you'll start to feel lonely.
Yeah.
And you'll start to feel a little like, I don't have good friends, or gosh, I'm in a job where people don't recognize me, or gosh, my spouse kind of disrespectful. This is where you need the second part, which is let me.
Yeah.
Let me remind myself that I get to choose how much time and energy I put into this. Let me remind myself that if I'm starting to feel worried that AI is coming and I'm about to get laid off, Instead of complaining, let me get busy working on my resume and let me figure out my next step instead of sitting here like a sitting duck, worried about what's happening.
Yeah. Well, this gets us on to why we are controlling in the first place and why we don't let them. And I know that you have 3 pillars of that philosophy. We'll get onto that in a second or two. You said at the beginning of our chat that when the student is ready, the teacher will turn up. And again, your husband would say, well, when the teacher's ready, the student turns up, which is also really interesting, isn't it? And that's sort of where we are. It's all in the mix here. So from the Let Them Theory, this is Mel Robbins. We're talking to you live. If you're listening to this, you can watch it via the Virgin Radio app right now. We're live streaming. So let's get on to from us letting them. Why do we feel the need to not let them in the first place? Again, there are 3 pillars to this, aren't there?
Well, one of the things to understand, and there are 57 world-renowned experts that I interviewed in order to build the case for this theory. Because this theory, the reason why it works also is because it's everything you already know. It's the serenity prayer. It is radical acceptance. It's detachment theory in 2 words, let them and let me. So the reason why we need this is because every human being has a hardwired need to feel in control. It makes you feel safe. If you think you're in control of what's going to happen today, of what decisions you're making, of what's going to happen in your career, in your relationship, you feel safe. Here's the problem. Chris, if you do something that really pisses me off, all of a sudden your behavior now makes me feel out of control. And we make a really big mistake when that happens. We step across the line. And now I want to manage you. If you're worrying me, I want to change you. If I think you should have a better job or lose a few pounds, I want to change you, Chris. Because your behavior as you sit there and eat chips on the couch and drink your Guinness is driving me crazy, so I want to change you. So I then step across the line and I try to control you. And I tell you to get off the couch. And I tell you to knock off, the logger. And I tell you that you should do this and do that. Now, here's the problem, Chris. You have the same need to be in control of yourself as I have to be in control of me. So when I try to control you, it then bumps up against your need to control yourself. And all of a sudden, boom. Now we explain why you have so much tension in your relationships. Because we're all trying to control each other. And none of us realize, wait a minute. When I try to control you, I'm not loving you, I'm judging you. And so with your family in particular, your adult children, your spouse, your significant other, your parents,
your grandchildren.
Your grandchildren. These people are not changing. They're not changing. You need to learn to let them. I think the reason, Chris, we all have families is so we can learn how to love people we hate at times. When you learn to let a person be who they are and be who they're not, when you give the people in your family in particular the dignity of their own experience, when you recognize that people only change when they are ready to change for themselves, and all the hints and motivation and judgment, it's actually creating a standoff where they're going to stay the same. If you want someone to change in your life, this took me 54 years, for God's sakes, if you take one thing away from this, the second you let go and let them be who they are, you create this space of acceptance where you, for the first time ever, actually see your mother exactly as she is and as she's not. You see your partner for who they are and who they're not. You see your kids for who they are and who they're not. And in that space where you let them be, you're actually loving them as they are. And you've created the space for somebody to change for themselves. And I'll tell you, my husband and I have been married almost 30 years. Second marriages are amazing, especially when it's with the first person. And you create a different relationship when you change how you show up. That's how you change relationships. And I'd love to speak to those of you that have a very challenging person in your life, because we all have somebody in our life that's a little narcissistic, who's had a lot of trauma in their background, or drinks way too much. And we brace around these people and we think they need to change. And we hope every time we see them, they're going to change. And what's happened in my life with particularly the very challenging people, because it's easy to say on social media, I just don't cut people off. But a lot of us want these people in our lives because they're our parents, or they're a sibling, Or maybe you have to deal with a challenging person because it's your ex and you have kids. When you stop expecting this person to change and you say, let them, and you train yourself to recognize this is who this person is. I have a choice about how much time and energy I put into this. I have a choice over how I think about who they are. I personally, with challenging people in my family, walking in knowing, okay, this person's a little narcissistic. I know exactly how this is going to go, and I'm going to let them.
Yeah.
Because I recognize that I can leave the dinner table anytime I want. I recognize I don't have to take the bait because those kind of people are constantly baiting you. Oh. And you're the one that just snatches onto it.
Well, they get you to do their work for them.
Correct. But when you let them and you see it coming, your energy is so calm.
Yeah.
And you become the more powerful one in the room.
Totally, 100%.
Because you don't play the game.
I love it so much. The other thing about letting them is it puts the onus back on you, the microscope back on you for your life.
Yes.
Because often we don't let them because becoming exhausted by constantly trying to control other people is a better option than facing our own issues and dealing with those, which would be far less exhausting, but might be more frightening.
Well, I actually don't even think we think about it that way. I think we're just so trained to be watching everybody else and thinking we got to make everybody else happy that you don't even recognize. I didn't recognize. I'm 56 years old. It took me until I was 54 to recognize there's a completely different way to go through life. Like I was living it in the opposite. I cared more about other people's opinions than my own. I gave more time and energy to other people's happiness than I did to my own. And what I didn't recognize is the reason why, Chris, I was so tired at the end of the day and I had no energy for myself is because I had burned through all my energy getting worked up about traffic, being frustrated standing in long lines, being depressed and overwhelmed by the headlines, being frustrated by all the meetings at work, that by the time I got home, I was so exhausted that I had nothing left for me. And so one of the other cool things is you can start using this now. Anytime you feel frustrated, there's so many micro moments that just piss you off during the day.
So tiring.
Yes. Just say, let them. And what's going to happen is at the end of the day, you're going to come home and have more energy left for you. Yeah. For the people you care about.
Love.
For love.
And care.
Yes. That's why you have no time.
Yeah, and it is tough. It's tough to relax. If you're relaxing properly, you have to have energy to do that. Otherwise, it's what you do on the sofa is not relaxing. It's just like, it's desperation. The more you let other people live their lives, the better your life gets. I love the tattoo gallery here.
Yes.
You knew you had a hit on your hands when all these people started sending you pictures and putting up on Insta of their let them tattoos. And I've got to say, they're all gorgeous. It immediately made me want to have one.
Well, I'll tell you, when I reached out, we literally get hundreds of these every single day from around the world because this book has, in 6 months, sold 5.5 million copies.
Congratulations.
And one of the reasons why is because we live in a moment of time where everybody feels unbelievably overwhelmed. The headlines are terrifying and tragic everywhere.
And there's so many of them.
Yep. AI is coming.
Yep.
Everybody has somebody in their family that they're incredibly worried about right now. And so there's a lot of very valid reasons to feel out of control. The mistake that you cannot make is to buy into that feeling and to convince yourself there's nothing you can do. The truth is there's always something you can do to make yourself a little better, to make your family a little better, to make your community a little bit better. And if you allow the outside world, and again, this is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. The main thesis of that book is what's happening out there is terrifying and real. But the power is in how you respond to it. There are ways for you to use your mind and to really protect your energy so that you don't allow all of that to seep into you. And you can't right now because we need you. Your family needs you. You need you. Your community needs you. If we are going to ever set the world back on the right track where people care about people, where our communities are thriving, where we are reminding ourselves of the things that actually matter in life, because everything that's stressing you out right now, you're not going to be thinking about it on your deathbed. On your deathbed, you're going to want to be surrounded by the people that you love the most. You're going to want to look back on your life and be proud of the fact that you took the time that you had and you spent it doing things that made you feel like a good person and that you were proud of yourself while you were here. And so you can start to take control right now by simply saying, let them, when you feel the outside world impacting you. And then you say, let me, and you remind yourself when you say, let me, take a breath, no matter where I am. If I'm standing in a line, if I'm in a terrible relationship, if I'm in a job I hate, if I wake up today and go, you know what, I've really let myself go. I don't want to feel like this anymore. Let me go on a walk today.
Yeah.
That's how you begin to take your power back. And we all need to do that, because if we all start to do that in small ways, we become a little better. Our families become a little bit better. Our communities become a little bit better. And it just spreads this ripple that is very positive and powerful.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah,
it's
very
a real
real.
ripple.
Yes.
And it really, it's a real sort of, it's a chain of energy that does all the things we try to do when we try to control situations.
Yes.
Counterthink, isn't it?
Yes.
It's counterthink.
Yes.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Kirsty is another #1 best-selling author, and we were talking to Kirsty between 8:30 and 9 about her book, Your Cosmic Purpose.
Awesome.
She's on tour at the moment. You're on tour at the moment. I just thought it'd be great to get you both
Awesome.
together.
Hi.
She is like the wonderkind of our female population here in the UK.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Together, you are awesome. Some of the listeners can't believe.
This is like cosmic purpose that we're both in here at the same time.
100%.
Yes.
So Kirsty, Mel, Kirsty, Kirsty, fill your boots.
Oh, what I wanted to ask you, I think one of the reasons people absolutely adore you and resonate with you so much is because you do genuinely show up as authentically and honestly and truly all of you. And I think we can feel it so fully in integrity. And that is your cosmic purpose.
Oh, wow.
But what I would love to know is, what does living on purpose mean to you?
Well, it's interesting. I do hear a lot of people do say, you're so authentic, Mel. And I feel like no matter if I see you online or I bump into you in real life, you are who you are. And I'll tell you why. Because I spent the first 40 some years of my life lying and pretending to be somebody else. Yeah. And it's exhausting.
It really is.
It is so much easier. There's nothing vulnerable about being yourself. Once you actually are comfortable talking about who you are and being open about the mistakes that you've made and the things that you've learned, you recognize that you're the one that was judging yourself by pretending to be somebody that you're not. You're the one that is judging yourself and shaming yourself if you're embarrassed about the mistakes that you've made. Yes. And so I just learned the hard way that it's easier to just tell the truth about who you are and what you've done and the things that you believe. And if you're a person who is kind and you are a person that has a good intention, even when you screw up, it's easy to clean it up because you know what you meant to do. And so I guess that insight of how much easier it is to just be who you are and be who you're not, that to me is why I am the person that I am right now.
Yeah. And that has been on purpose. I say that all the time. Your purpose is to be you. It's not some elusive thing out there we're looking for. It's to be you. And that's exactly what you're doing.
We're allowed to go on that journey, aren't we? Just to prove it to ourselves. And it is the hero's journey, isn't it? And then you come back and you only live twice, but you only realise that when that first life is over.
Ooh.
And you get to live the second life.
Oh. So what was the moment where your first life ended?
I would say, well, there isn't a specific moment unless you reverse engineer it. But I would have to say when I met my wife, Natasha, neither of us knew it at the time. And we talk about it all the time. We did a record 5 coffees in bed yesterday morning talking about this. And
5 coffees?
Yeah,
that is the cutest thing I've ever heard.
It's stupid.
They are the cutest thing you've ever seen.
But we have been out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we have done all the partying. We've made all the mistakes together, and we met on a golf course. It's so crazy. We met on a golf course, the most sedate sport in the world. And then she played golf for a living, and I loved golf. And then we met, and then we realised, under the guise of golfing, we were two absolute party animals. So we met on a golf course and then partied for 10 years. And then I started running when I was 47 and all this kind of stuff. But anyway.
That's right about when everything, like those are, there's something about the 40s. I don't know, but you can make this happen earlier in your life. Learn from your elders, everybody.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. And also, we are not we've got to be careful with the older thing, because we're in our 50s and people in their 70s and 80s really get annoyed when we start saying we're old, because we're not, because they're older. Even they're not old. But I think the whole thing about apparently the 60s are it, Mel. 60s, your 60th, your 7th decade from your 60th birthday. Apparently, it's amazing.
Oh, I can't wait.
I literally can't wait. What's interesting about everything today, but what's particularly interesting about Mel's latest theory, the let them theory, which is the number one theory of our times, I think anyway, is the fact that this was after you wrote 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
After you wrote High Five Yourself. The last time I interviewed you, you hadn't even, your daughter hadn't said let them to you.
No, but here's the funny thing.
This is in the last 2 years.
Do you know how long I've been posting about this stuff? Literally, it's embarrassing. I've done podcast episodes. I've put out social media that's sort of like, stop caring about what people think. Stop chasing people that give you less than you deserve. How? Like, I've read every book on stoicism you can find. I'm the least stoic person you've ever met.
Or
because,
not.
Or not. Because knowing something or having the idea or the philosophy is very different than actually knowing how to apply it.
That's what you said earlier on, isn't it?
Yeah, and when you're stressed out or like something's really hurting you, your emotions take over. And so in those moments where life was just killing me or I was working myself up over something, whether it was something dumb or something really profound, I never knew how to access this wisdom. And it was this moment of stress because, look, just like everybody else, I've probably said those words, let them 10,000 times for crying out loud.
And all this stuff.
Yeah, all this stuff. But it was that moment in that delivery that had it hit me personally. And so, I really feel like this, to your point, the cosmic purpose, I do believe that ideas are living things. Yeah. And this is an idea in terms of the more you give up control, the more control you gain. This is an idea that's been around since the beginning of time. Yeah. And I personally believe that I was in service of this message. Like, I don't think this is about a book or a theory. I think this is about a moment in time where when you have a rise of fear and darkness and hatred and uncertainty in the world, if you pay attention, there is always a corresponding message of light, of hope, of empowerment and connection. And so I don't feel like I am talking about a book. I feel surrounded by our ancestors and by ancient wisdom and in the slipstream of something so much bigger. Yeah. Because this tool, this modern version of ancient wisdom is exactly what we all need right now. Yeah. Because if we don't wake up, we will be lulled into believing that we are not powerful, and it is not true. You are powerful beyond your imagination.
Yeah, because we are everything.
We're
all everything, aren't we? And the thing about the knowledge of something as opposed to knowing it, just because you can speak French, it doesn't mean you are French. You have to be French. Carl Jung was asked in his dying days on video. Carl Jung was asked, so at the end of your life, knowing all that you know now, do you still believe there is a God? And he says, no, I actually don't. I now know there's a God. And that was the difference. Mel, it's great to have you. It's great to have you.
It's so good to see you.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
There's some great pictures. I've got to show you this picture. I'll find it in a minute of this tube carriage. Can you get us print it out again?
Oh, is it of everybody leaving the Apollo Theater
Everybody
yesterday?
had one of your bags. It's so funny.
We gave everybody a bag.
Oh,
you get a gift when you come to my shows. It's a wise
move. Rona says, so simple. I'm just going to do it right now. Thanks, guys. This came at exactly the right time. Lynn says, oh, Chris, Mel's let them has made me cry. I've struggled all weekend after someone criticised me at work. I will now let them. Emma says, says, I love Mel's book. Work It Out. It's brilliant. I'm definitely going to read The Let Them Theory. Charmene says, I have already started Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And wow, she's given me and so many women the ability to put themselves first. Joanna, Let Them Theory is so liberating. I follow Mel on TikTok, loving seeing her here today. Sam in Essex, could you say thank you to Mel Robbins for her new book? Please, I listened to the audio version a couple of months ago and it was fabulous. Mel, I think we're sort of done. Kirsty, I am done. I am baked by two beautiful women. Thank you. I have been schooled. And I am going to go to the top of the class for the rest of the day. I'm going to meet the sort of final jigsaw in this Holy Trinity. Back to my wife, who'll be crying now. Listen to the radio. I know she will. Mel Robbins, you're a gift.
Oh, well, thank you. So are you. Takes one to recognize one.
All right, thank you, Kirsty.
Thank you.
Thank you for additional content over and above your own interview. Can we hear it, please, for Mel Robbins and Kirsty Gallagher and life itself? All right, we gotta go, but we're coming back tomorrow with another sizzling breakfast show. The Let Them Theory. Mel Robbins is out now. Her podcast, the Mel Robbins podcast, is amazing. The episode Last But One is all about this book. She's on Rich Roll. She's touring. She's TikTok-tastic. Bye.